So I think we have what you call, this is either the tub hub, that's where the washer is trying to spin, but it's not engaging. So we do have to remove the agitator or the wash plate and take a look at the tub hub. That is the issue with this. So we're going to take a look. Alright guys, so we're going to change the tub hub, or at least we're going to take a look at it. And first things first, remove this cap. Get you guys a little closer. Alright, hopefully you can see. And this is a 7/16. Make sure you are taking it off. I like impacts, but you got to be careful that if it's super tight, spray some WD-40 or PB Blast or something just to loosen that. And they do have Loctite on them, so sometimes it can be a little bit hard. So just be mindful with the impact, because if it's too hard to remove, let it soak, because if this get broken off inside, then you're going to be in a heap of trouble. Now, these wash plates, it's a hit and miss. So sometimes they come out nice and smooth, but most often they are totally stuck. Maybe this one is going to be nice and easy. So I use 2 hooks, and you stick them under neat in the holes, and you just wiggle and pull. And as you go back and forth, you just constantly pull. And as you can see, it's being stubborn. So I'm going to do, this is something I use. Been using it. It works great. And you want to spray it in the hole. Okay, because what we're dealing with now is rust. So this section here inside is metal. So you have a metal collar inside the plastic housing, which is on the wash plate, and the shaft is also metal. So over time, they actually, you may say, seize together. So I'm going to leave this on real time, and you will actually see that this stuff is, short of a miracle worker. So it works great. Usually about 10 minutes is what I say it takes to work, and it comes right off. That's the only way you can get to the tub hub. So we let that sit, and we'll be back. All right, guys, we've been rolling for about 10 minutes, I think. So we're gonna take a try, and it should come up. We do have airbags to help, but I will tell you from experience, just the airbag without that, Barkeepers or maybe CLR, but I'm pretty good with Barkeepers. Works great. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wiggle, and we're going to pull this thing up. All right. I'm going to tap it with a hammer. Rubber mallet. Crazy. Now the agitator ones, you have some leverage to tap it, but these you don't. So now what we're going to do, we're going to insert, ideally you want to have 3 airbags, and one here, there, and there, but it's very difficult to get the airbags under those. So we're going to do it here, and probably here, and pretty successful. You just can't overdo the airbags because they will break and destroy this. You don't want to do that. So I'm going to try one more time. All right. airbag is. Now guys, when you put airbags under, be careful not to poke the airbags with your pick. That will not be good. All right, so we got one side under. I'm gonna get one right there. Hopefully you can see. There it is. And let's turn right there. All right, so we have another airbag. All right, now that we have the airbags in, I'm going to start pumping. All right, so what I like to do, because it is under a lot of pressure, and that airbag, once they start to put some force on that wash plate can come flying off, and if it's a lot of pressure, it could actually hurt you. So what I like to do, get the nut, put it back in, not all the way, 2 or 3 turns maybe, and that's it. Okay, and that keeps it from flying off. Safety. All right guys, so adding some pressure. All right, now, like I mentioned, with the pressure being pushed on the wash plates right now, you could actually sometimes just let it sit and you'll just see it just pop right off just because of the pressure. And sometimes you want to just let it sit with the pressure being pushed up, and it's just slowly pushing it off. So don't try to force it, because you will damage. They will crack and snap right in these areas. So just let it sit. You can take your rubber mallet and tap, and that will also cause it to come up. I'm gonna tap. All right, we're gonna give just a little more pump. So right now we're under a lot of pressure. I don't want to do any more pumping. I do wish I can get another airbag and put it under here, because these are the areas you want to get the airbags under, really. This one is half under, which is good, but I love to slide one right under here and maybe move this guy right there. So I'm going to try another airbag. Hopefully by the time I get back, it actually just... So we'll see. I actually have 4 of these. I can't find the other, but I'm gonna get one more under here. And this is the main rib, or you may say. And it's the best spot really to get one of these airbags. It's going to give you the best lift without damaging anything. Obviously right now we have two under here and it's tight to get them under. So I'm going to lower this bag. Let's see this guy. Let's see what we can get on this. Now sometimes you can just sit there and just watch it. You know, just pop right off right in front of you. I don't want to put any more pressure on this one, and in fact we'll keep adding pressure. You could actually snap this one right there, so don't do too much pressure because he's in a weak spot. I really want to put this guy here. In fact, I'm going to do that. You can actually see it lifting slowly. And that's how dangerous it is. If that bolt was not in there, this thing would have slung right off and hit you in the face. It would have probably hurt you real bad. It is loose. In fact, the liquid that was in there was shoved out at such a high force. So very crucial, if you're going to do it this way, do it the right way. In fact, I think I have some of that stuff in my eye. Almost. I felt it though. In fact, the nut is still tight because it's still under pressure. All right, let's remove our nut. Now, under some cases, I've actually seen where the inside piece, which is metal, has actually separated and has pushed the plastic piece off, and all you have left is the metal down there. I've seen it. Hopefully everything is good on this one. Now get your hooks or picks, whatever. You should have to wiggle it off, or you can always use the pliers, but you don't want to scratch that. There we go. You can see it's out. That's the way it's supposed to be taken out. Now you can see down in there how rust has built up. So they get pretty rusty, and it's a chemical bond. You have to break that bond, otherwise you're going to destroy this thing. I think I have a video showing how to get this piece off when they're frozen on there. Very difficult, very difficult. Remove your airbags. Alright guys, so this is the guy we're after. You're going to pull this pin out, and then you have, I think, 6 Phillips screws, and this comes off. use a screwdriver. I use whatever I find at the moment. Just a small wrench, and I just tap the side. Use a screwdriver, guys. I just didn't feel like walking to get one. Alright, so we got Phillips screws. Then this comes off. Hold your screws. They fall down in there, you gotta pull the drum out. There we go. Alright, see that? She is smooth. Okay, that's why it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And we're gonna get a wire brush to this, clean it off a little bit, and put a new one on. Alright guys, you want to clean the grooves or the splines or splines. Alright guys, we're pretty much ready. So you don't need to put anything between these two guys. He goes in. Now the wash blade, I will suggest we put just a tad bit of grease, and it's just going to help to mitigate some of the corrosion. You don't want to put a lot, you just want to put a little bit. Okay. Now this job is, you know, it's not really difficult. Pretty straightforward, but you want to make sure that you have the right equipment to do it. If not, it will be difficult, and that wash plate, you will destroy it if you don't have the right tool to get it off, because this is super difficult. You gotta make sure these get in the groove. Sometimes you gotta rotate it. You can always turn the drum, and of course that section goes between there, so the holes go in the middle. Keep that in mind, and just rock it back and forth. If it's kind of getting difficult, you might have to get a rubber mallet and just tap it. And if the drum turns, you want to move it so the holes are lined up. I wouldn't use the screws and pull it down. It's too far, and you can end up damaging the threads, so don't do that. The old one is actually good, and you can put it over it, and you can tap the edge, or you can actually use the edge of the old one. Just tap. It's plastic, it's not going to damage it. If you can move the drum, it's not down enough, so we're going to get it down further. Alright, get a socket, and one that will fit around the edges. Good enough. Also guys, make sure the threads, the holes are lined up perfectly, because that will throw off how it goes down. I think that's pretty good. Now this will pull the drum up some, but the job is not to over tighten these. Now, I recommend you use a manual to tighten these. If you're not careful, you can strip these out very easily with an impact. So be very careful. It's going into plastic. You just want to make sure it is snug all the way up and they're tight. Don't overdo it. You will eat those threads out and you'll be in trouble. That's all you need. Now we gotta slide that pin. Now that pin has a hole, okay, where it stops. So I guess it goes in either way, but once it hits that head of that screw, it pretty much stops. And sometimes when this is too tight, it's a little bit difficult to go in, but you can get it in. That's it. Stops right there. There's a lip where it stops the screw from going anymore. That's it. Alright guys, last but not least, that's grease, okay? Put some on your finger. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put some in here. Okay. Turn it around. And it's going to help to mitigate that corrosion. You're not putting a lot, so it's not going to be hitting the clothing or anything like that. You want to be careful. And also put some on this piece here. Don't put any in the screw hole. Nothing crazy. Still have a lot on my finger. So slide it down. Wash blade is tight again. You didn't damage it, because if you don't, you can end up, when you damage this wash blade trying to take it off, you know, you got to replace that. So imagine paying someone, you're going to be paying them to replace the wash blade and also, you know, the labor. So it gets costly. So this is how you do it properly. All right, we got one screw left and we're done. Don't over torque it, guys. Don't do it. And of course, the issue with this, it was not spinning or washing. It would just make that weird noise and it would just sit there and hum.